Welcome to today's Excel class. I'm Moses by name, and today we'll dive into analyzing a real-world data of various company executives. Using the Excel functions, we'll calculate the totals, the average, and we'll identify the highest and the lowest salaries, as well as specific rankings like the fourth highest and the third lowest salaries. So this hands-on session will teach you how to use functions like the sum, the average, the maximum, the minimum, the count, the large, the small, and array formulas with if. So let's get started. We'll work with a data set containing the names of executives. These are the names of the executives. The first one is Peter, will be Goodluck Jonathan. All these are the names of executives. Their companies, we assume their companies are the states. So we have Abia, Bayelsa, Taraba. All these are the companies, and their salaries. So we have this salary. All these are the salaries of the executives. So you enter this dataset in your own Excel worksheet or your own dataset that you have. Now, our goal is to analyze this data, this salary data, using Excel functions, and we want to calculate the grand totals of all the salaries. We also want to determine the average salary, to identify the highest and the lowest salary, to count the total number of staffs, to find the fourth highest and the third lowest salary, and to explore alternative method using array functions. So as we just go along, we will get more of what we want to do. So the first one is to start with basic statistical functions that you know. So the first one here is what? To calculate the grand totals. To calculate the grand total, so you start with equality sign. Remember, in any calculation in Excel starts with equality sign. Equals to the sum, right? Now you put your what? Your range, which is your numbers, C2 to what? C18. So these are the numbers you want to sum, but instead of saying this plus this, this plus this, this plus this, we just put the range. So Excel knows that you're saying from every calculation from P to B to Foshala is what you're interested. You close the bracket, right? You press your what? Enter button, and you have the result. Now here, this sum here, what it does is it adds all values in the range C2 to C12, so giving you the total salary expenditure. So this 55,454,588 naira is what is the total salary expenditure of all the names of the people, of the executives we have in the company. Now the next one is what? Average salary with equality sign. Average, right? Your range C2 to what? C18. You close your bracket, you press enter, you have the what? Your average right there with you. Now what this average does is what? The average will calculate the mean salary across the range. Now if you start from P to B salary and you sum to the last person, the Foshala, you divide by the number of executives you have. This 3,262,035 naira is what you're going to get. That's what it means. So what average does, it will just calculate the mean salary across the range. So the next one is what? We want to get the highest salary. The highest salary. So to get the highest salary, we start with what? Equality sign. Maximum talks about highest, right? Now the range to 18. You close your bracket. So we have 4,998,700. So if you check the salaries of all those executives there, you discover that this 4,998,000 is the highest. There is no other value there that is higher than that. You get what I'm saying? Good. Now the next one is what? Okay, what this maximum does, let me say, talk about it, is the maximum just find the highest value in the range. From the salary, it will just pick the highest from there. So the next one is what? The lowest salary, equality, minimum, right? Your range, C2 to what? C18. You close your bracket. That's the answer for the lowest salary. So the minimum will just identify the smallest value. Remember, maximum picks the highest, so the minimum will identify the smallest salary of all the executives, and that is 1,130,642 naira, right? So now we want to calculate what? Total number of staff. Total number of staff. Equality, count, your range, C2 to C18. Close the bracket, hit enter, 17. So if you count from B to B down to 18, you discover that, to Foshala, you discover that we have 18 staffs. 18 staffs. And now what counts does it? It counts the number of the numerical entries in the range. It counts the number of numerical entries in the range. So we have 17 numeric entries there. Now the next one we want to do is fourth highest salary. The fourth highest salary. So we use what? Equality sign, right? Large. Your range. Now to what? C18, right? Comma. Now you discover the next thing they say is K. Now your K is the number that you are interested to get. So here is what? 4. Abi, you close, you remember fourth highest. You have the result. Now what large does it? It will return the nth largest value. And here, that our nth is what? Is 4. Our K. Don't get confused between nth and K. They are the same thing. So our K there is 4 largest salaries, what we're interested in. So the next one is third lowest salary. We'll now use what? Opposite of large is what? Small, right? So your range, C2 to what? C18, comma. Our K is 3. We're looking for the third lowest salaries. We close the bracket and press enter. So the small will just return the K smallest value, the nth smallest value. So when you go to this salary structure of the data we have there, you discover that this is the lowest value of all the salaries there. Now the next thing I want you to pay attention to is these alternatives that we want to explore. These alternatives. So these alternatives, we are going to use array functions to calculate it. And in some Excel windows, when you finish putting your array function and you click enter and you press enter, it may not give you the answer. So we're going to be making use of the Ctrl Shift Enter to get the answer. So what it does is when you press Ctrl Shift Enter, it will just give you the coiling bracket will appear around the formula. So as we just go into the calculation, you will get more of what I'm saying. So the first alternative we want to get is alternative using maximum for the fourth highest salary. That's here. You understand? We want to see whether there is another formula we can use to get this this result here. We want to see whether there is any alternative. So let's try something out. Right now, equality sign. Remember, in the fourth highest we used large, so here we're not going to use large because we want to get alternative. So maximum, right? If, right? Good. Our range is what? C2 to what? C18. Less than. Now you put that large there. The sum of your range. But there's something I want you to take note. When we were doing this fourth highest salary, this here, our K was what? 4. But here now, our K is no longer going to be 4. I will tell you the reason later. Now, right? Comma what? You put your range again, C2 towards C18. You remember we opened 2 brackets, right? So we have closed the first one. Let's close the second one. Now for us this to work, we will use what? Ctrl Shift Enter. Are they the same answer? Yes. But now see that coiling bracket I told you about. Ctrl Shift Enter. See the curly bracket here. Are you seeing it? That's the curly bracket. But I want to copy this because I will be using it in the next one. I don't want to do much of typing. Now, what this if does, the if will filter values less than the third largest. It will filter it. Then the maximum will find the highest among them. You get? So that's the reason why we used what? 3, not 4. If you put 4, okay, let's do practical. We have removed our 3 there, so we have 4 at that place. Shift Enter. You see it's not the same thing again. So, but let's go back. Put 3. Shift what? Enter. That's what this alternative does. The if will just filter values less than the third largest, and now the maximum will find the highest among them. When you have the values that are less than the third largest, the maximum will just pick the fourth one from it. You get? So now we want to find what? Alternative using minimum function for what? The third lowest salary. So let me paste. Remember I copied that formula. Now what I will do is I'll come to this maximum and put what? Minimum, right? Now I will come to this large and put what? Small. I will come to this greater, this less than, and put what? Greater than. Then in the same vein, I will come to this what? This 3 there and put what? 2. You understand? Every other thing is okay. I will also press what? Ctrl Shift Enter. You see this answer and this are the same, exactly the same. So the if here will also filter values greater than. Remember we use greater than here. So what it will do, it will pick values greater than the second smallest. Now the minimum will now find the lowest among them and take. To just find the lowest among them and take. that lowest among them. Do you understand? So the next one is alternative using large for highest. Now remember, in this highest we use maximum, right? So we want to use large for it. So equality sign large, our range is what? C2 to C18, comma. The highest, which is 1, so our K is 1. We close it. Press enter. You see, this answer and this answer are the same. Now the last one is alternatives using small for lowest. Remember this, here we used the word minimum, right? So now we're going to use small to get it. Equality small, C2 to C18, now comma 1, right? Close the bracket, enter. You see, this and this are the same, right? They are the same. So that's the way you can, the formulas you can use to calculate salaries. I know from this class now you can use your if functions well. You can use your average, your maximum, your minimum, your count, your small, your large, and array functions. So if you find this video useful, please like, comment, and share. I beg, subscribe to MosesLearnLab. God bless you as you do those things.